Hi. It's a little after 8:30. Here I am. Good morning. Good morning. Is everyone ready to start in Genesis? Here we are, a little bit later today. I got up as I could have, and then I got up and I kind of threw my back out. Oh, so I've been sort of stretching for a little while, trying to get to where I can get this kink out so I can do my gardening project I wanted to start today. So here's my cup that my student gave me. It's got lipstick on it. It says, "My class is full of troublemakers." So cute. Juliana Torres in San Marcos, California. You know who you are. She had a great answer to prayer. It's kind of unusual, but it's fun when you get to pray with your students and build bridges of faith in ways that you never thought you would. And she has a pet snake, which I don't understand, but I bless her snake. And she said, "Laura, please, please pray that I can find my pet snake. It's gone missing in our household." And of course, I was praying for her housemates more than the snake. No, that's not true. Um, don't tell Juliana I said that, if you know her. I'm just kidding. All of this is a joke. But was missing for 1 month, and she just sent me a picture that she found the snake, and it was just lying on the floor like it never left anywhere. It's just been hiding for a month, staying in place. I don't know. Just following the rules. All right, so here we are in Genesis. If you're on, I hope you'll let me know. Make a little comment so I know you're here. Let's get started. We're ending chapter 5 and beginning in chapter 6. And this is really packed. So that's another reason it took me a little while longer. I seriously couldn't even research everything I wanted to. And there's not very many scriptures here. So that's why it's a devotional and not a Bible study, because I just can't make it all get in my brain overnight. So we're in verse 28. When Lamech was 182, he fathered a son and named him Noah. I love that name, Noah, saying, "He will relieve us from our hard work and painful toil, and from the ground that Yahweh cursed." Lamech lived an additional 595 years after Noah was born and had many other sons and daughters. The lifespan of Lamech was 777 years. Oh, 777 Lamech lived. Wow, and then he died. That's significant, don't you think? 777. What if your liftoff date was 777 years? Wow, wouldn't that be amazing? I didn't see that till right now. Okay, so the word Noah, I love this. I can't wait to tell you this. This is so incredible. Of course, this comes from the notes. This isn't something I knew. But the word Noah is the word for relief or comfort or rest. And Noah was the 10th generation from Adam. 10 is the biblical number of trial and human responsibility. And this comes from things like the 10 Commandments. And there's other places in Daniel 1:12, Revelation 2:10 that talks about the number 10. There are 10 more generations between Noah and Abraham. Notice the meaning of the 10 names of the men of the line of Seth. This is what Denise was sharing with us the other day. And I just want to say in line what the names of the men, what their names mean in the 10 generations in the line of Seth. Man, appointed, mortality, lament of death, splendor of God descends, teaching, his death will bring powerful overcoming, rest and comfort. When the meanings of the 10 names are joined together, it's an obvious theme hidden in the genealogy of Adam, which I just think, wow, God, did you do this on purpose? Man is appointed to mortality and the lament of death, but the splendor of God, who is Jesus Christ, will descend, and his death will bring the powerful overthrow of death and sin to bring us rest and comfort. What? Isn't that crazy? That's like a word puzzle that you do with your kids, right? I mean, actually, that's kind of a good idea. If you have kids and want to do something fun with them, you can string this all together. Um, wow, God, you're so amazing. I'm going to read that again. When the meaning of the 10 names are joined together, this is the lineage of Seth for 10 generations. It's an obvious hidden theme in the genealogy of Adam, and it is this: man is appointed to mortality and the lament of death. But the splendor of God, Jesus Christ, will descend, and his death will bring the powerful overthrow of death and sin to bring to us rest and comfort. Isn't that amazing? So good. So I know, hi Gail, I know you have this book. That is something to really just um, see how God has fine-tuned every family and every lineage and there's so much meaning. It's so beautiful. All right, so now we're in, not quite yet. It says after that after verse 32, after Noah had lived 500 years, he fathered Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And we know who those guys are because they get to go into the ark with him in a few verses from now. So now we're going to start chapter 6. And this is really sad actually. This is when God is grieving over human wickedness. Oh, okay, so let's read. When people began to populate the earth, they had many lovely daughters. I can just imagine how beautiful they were. Divine beings, these are not human beings, but divine beings, found them very appealing. So they took the women they wanted as their wives. What? Was there a struggle? Did anyone have anything to say about this? This is kind of yucky. Yahweh said, "My spirit will not strive with humanity indefinitely, for they are mortal. Their lifespan will be shortened to only 120 years." So he kind of put his foot down and knocked off several hundred years from people's lives because of this wickedness. We're going to come back to this in a moment. I'm just going to read a few more scriptures. Back then and later, there were giants on the earth who were born as a result. This is the outcome. They were born as a result of the unholy union of heavenly beings with the human daughters. They were the mighty ones of old. They were warriors of renown. But Yahweh saw how extremely wicked humanity had become, for they imagined only evil. For all they thought about was doing evil. That's all they thought about. They just wanted to do evil all of the time. Oh. And Yahweh was saddened. Of course, he was saddened. This is absolutely the opposite of his intentions in creation. He was saddened that he had even made humanity, and his heart was filled with pain. So Yahweh decided, I will do away with my ruined creation. Can you imagine? I just like imagine someone who's a painter and they are disgusted with their painting and they smash it and throw it away. This is a really intense moment in the heart of God. And yes, he does have them, those intense moments in history. So Yahweh decided, I will do away with my ruined creation, human beings that I created. People, animals, creeping things, flying birds, for it breaks my heart that I made them. So we know that God's heart can be broken. It can. And so here it is that his heart was broken. And then one last verse, but one man found grace in the sight of Yahweh, and his name was Noah. There's always redemption, isn't there? I mean, it looks bleak right now in the scriptures, but then there's this rope of hope thrown in, and his name is Noah. So let's go back to the first few verses in chapter 6, and let's look at some of the word meanings so that we don't misunderstand what is written here. Verse 2 says divine beings found them very appealing, found these beautiful women appealing. And these are called the sons of God or the angels of God. And Brian Simmons says this is one of the most difficult verses to interpret in the book of Genesis. There is much debate over the identity of these divine beings, yet we see that they are linked to the Nephilim giants, the corrupting of the divine seed of the woman, Genesis 3:16, who was to come, and the judgment of God through the flood. Many scholars view the sons of God as sons of Seth, the godly lineage, but the line of Seth is nowhere stated to be a godly line. In fact, only Noah was considered righteous in God's eyes. Other scholars see them as a reference to a group of fallen angels who in rebellion went outside their rightful domain. These are fallen angels, demons that went outside their rightful domain of authority and abandoned their appointed realms to have sexual relations with women. Let me read that again because this is just kind of gross, but apparently some people who have studied the original text believe that this group of divine beings are actually fallen angels who, in rebellion, went outside their rightful domain of authority and abandoned their appointed realms to have sexual relations with women. So I just feel like a quickening right now with this wording for those of you who are intercessors and for those of you who are concerned about human trafficking, that you would bind up any demonic powers that have gone outside their domain of authority and abandoned their appointed realms to have sexual relations through men with young women, with the pedophile rings is what I'm talking about. So you can use this and underline it in your book if you have it, to have as a prayer point. The argument that they could not be fallen angels because angels cannot marry, that's Matthew 22:30, is in references to angels who are actually in heaven. They don't marry in heaven, but not the angels who came to earth as part of Satan's plan to cohabitate with women and corrupt the human race. That was their plan. Virtually all of the earliest writings of Jewish and Christian literature interpret the phrase, the sons of the gods, as heavenly beings known as fallen angels or watchers. And then he lists all of the earliest Jewish writings that talk about this. There's several books here. Okay, so this is all pre-flood. So the flood wiped out all of this corruption, and you can see why God's heart would be broken. You can see the demonic that was so prevalent, and even seeding. I don't even know how this works. I didn't even know they could do this, but seeding women, beautiful women, and having wickedness come into their bloodline. I mean, it's just evil. And so now, when you ever think, why did God have to destroy the earth with a flood? This could be part of the tipping point that we see that just wrecked God's heart for what he had created. And again, for him to see his creation as damaged now and as ruined is the word. Oh, just sickening. Think about a house that someone's built that, currently that gets destroyed in a tornado, that gets completely obliterated in a natural disaster, a fire, and the grief that comes over the person who put their hand hour after hour, day after day, to something that they created for their family to enjoy. And this is something how the Creator God felt, somewhat like how he felt, only it was over the entire the earth. And it included, somehow it infected even the animal kingdom. And so they too were going to be destroyed. Just so sad. All right, so then let's go to verse 3, where it says he will cut their lifespan back to just 120 years. I had a few thoughts about how many people, Christians, are asking God for long lives here, to have their assignments be as long as possible. And I agree with this. I agree that as God sees fit, I don't think it's good for us to want to just be raptured out and want to be taken away because we do have an assignment in the earth. You may not recognize yours, or you may recognize yours, and again, you're just about to step into it, which I know is true for some of you. And God bless you. God bless the length of your days. God give you strength. God give you the legs and the feet and the arms and the hands to carry out his will. God bless you to extend on the earth what he calls his kingdom in heaven. Let it be brushed across the earth like the brush of a painter, by your hand and by your touch. And may you continue to strive for good health and the blessing of God on your life, so that you can serve him all the days of your life. And may your life be long. I agree. I do not believe that your life should be cut short or cut off. And I think that even it is as simple as you going into the grocery store and bringing light into the grocery store as you walk the earth and as you replicate Jesus. So I just wanted to say, yes, long life here. And even if we are not living these hundreds and hundreds of years any longer, let us live as long as God sees fit. Let us live beyond what is expected in the natural. Let us live. Let there be life flowing through our veins and through our children's lives. Let there be life in Jesus' name. Okay, just that was like a public, what do you call them? Public PSA, public service announcement. Thank you. Because I really want to bless you all with completion of your assignments, understanding, and the wherewithal to walk through them, to walk them out. Okay, and now I just want to go to verse 4. Nephilim is another word for the giants that these unions brought forth. The triliteral root is also used for fallen ones. So these are fallen angels. Um, the giants were the offspring of these divine fallen angels and the women that they gave seed to. They were monsters of iniquity, meant to corrupt the earth and destroy the godly seed. So they were trying to corrupt the earth. That must have been a huge battle at the time. And the Lord just kind of, that's in Numbers 13:33, by the way. The Lord just kind of put his foot down, you know. And then God, in verse 6, it says God was saddened, and that means that he sighed within himself. He regretted, and it says that's the word nasham, which is nearly impossible to translate adequately into English, but it means about 4 different things that are all mushed together, and these are the things that it means. It means grief, comfort, compassion, and hope, all at the same time. And so it's as if God felt all of these emotions over the creation of man, and he was filled with sorrow and compassion and hope. But he was not simply just angry. He had grief, sorrow, and he also had hope because he had a plan. And so that's what the word saddened means. And then verse 8 says that one man found favor in the sight of God, and that was Noah. And I love this. This is the last part I wanted to read today. This is just, this just made me giggle. Did you know that the Hebrew word Noah, spelled backwards, is the Hebrew word grace? Is this crazy or what? This should be like what you find when you open up a Chinese cookie. Your name shall be Noah, but if you reverse it, it means grace. It's the first mention of grace in the Bible. It's quite amazing to think that Noah was the agent of grace, that he found grace. He found an era of grace, is what Brian Simmons says in the notes. It's like he got pulled into the era of grace that was après flood, after the flood. Is this amazing or what? And that's what his name meant. What? It's so good. It's so good. You can't make this stuff up. So he found favor, which means grace, the age of grace. He found the coming age of grace through God's grace. God laid hold of grace in the eyes of Yahweh. It wasn't Noah's good virtue that saved him. It was God's grace that saved Noah and his family. Scooped them up into the ark, gave him instructions. We'll read all about this. And they sailed through the most biggest natural disaster in the earth ever, covering the entire earth. Act of God, I guess we call them when we get our insurance papers. It's beautiful. The first mention of grace here is found in Genesis 6:8. Don't you want to live in God's grace? Don't you want to be pulled into God's grace today like Noah? Don't you want to find your family in that ark, escaping the things that break God's heart? I do, and I pray that over us all today. I just release a blessing of your family, extended loved ones carried into the ark and carried away from anything and everything that would cause God to be brokenhearted over his creation, and that you would sail through into an era of grace, into a new season, that you would come out on the other side with beauty again and God's peace on you as He has made you so delightful. In His eyes, you are perfect. Yeah. All right. Yes, we do. Kathy, hi. We live in His favor. That's so good. All right. Well, have a very good day. I'm going to sign off now and I bless you. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you tonight if you want to pray, and tomorrow again if you want to continue with the story of Noah. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.